Welcome, heroes and villains of Fjuke Enterprises. I'm your host, Fjuke, and today we are continuing my quest to interview all game masters that will let me. As I just said before I realized I wasn't recording, I've interviewed someone from a Cornish person, a Manx person, an English person, Scottish person, a Welsh person, and now my first Irish interview is with Desmond. And I know you by a few different names, so why don't you finish off introducing yourself?
So, hey, I'm Des, or Desmond, either is fine. I run the Eldritch Scribe YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter. We stream D&D. It's pretty fun. You should check us out.
How did you get into role-playing games?
So, back in 2016, I had a couple friends that were, I played games with them, MMOs and the like, and I'd always been really into sort of like Skyrim, Fallout, Dragon Age, RPGs in general. So they came over to my apartment one day and they said, "Hey, do you want to try playing Dungeons and Dragons?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, that sounds really fun. How do I play?" And that's when they said, "No, you're running it." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Well, I guess that answers how you went from being a game player to being a game master.
I didn't.
So, I have a feeling I know the answer to this question, but in case I'm wrong, what systems have you played?
So I have played Vampire the Masquerade, I've played Starfinder, and I've played 5th edition.
Are there any role-playing systems that you refuse to run?
Not really. I think I'd be open to trying within reason, if it seemed fun upon reading it. I'd try any role-playing system. I really just depends if my group wanted to play it, I suppose.
Are there any role-playing systems you enjoy running?
I think the very easy answer to that is 5th edition. I have found my stride and a shameful amount of hours on Roll20 of over 2,500, I think, at this stage running it. So I think a 5th edition is comfortable for me.
So do you have any common house rules between your games?
Yeah, I definitely have a few house rules. So I think a pretty common one that an awful lot of GMs and DMs have adopted is you can drink a potion as a bonus action. I think that's pretty standard. I think one that is maybe a little bit more unique to my channel and our group, although I doubt I'm the only one who uses it, is every week I get my players to keep a basic in-character journal for what's been happening to them. And if they complete the journal every week, they get basically like a D6 inspiration that they can use on any roll, and it stacks up to 3d6. So if they don't use it, they can kind of accumulate until they can roll an extra 3d6 on any attack, ability save, death save, if they really feel like they want to succeed a roll. I use the critical role resurrection rules. I really like the drama that brings to a table, although with a slight modification of allowing Revivify to just be. I do free starting feats at level 1 with a few of them banned, like Lucky, Sentinel, Great Weapon Master, Sharpshooter. I think that's the extent of my homebrew, other than the entire world.
Could you refresh my memory? What is the critical role resurrection rules?
So basically, the entire sort of ruling is when a character dies, if the spell takes more than an action, is my variation. Normally it's Revivify. There's a rapid resurrection check where you just roll a d20 and add I believe it's your spellcasting modifier for whichever class you are. And the DC starts at 10. And for every time your character has died, it increases by 1. But if it's longer time than casting time of 1 action, it performs a ritual where characters can basically try and do some sort of skill challenge to decrease the DC. So, plead for your soul, it would be like persuasion, or, beg a god would be religion, or, whatever way you can kind of, it's a little bit more loose, but that can reduce the DC, all the way down. I think each success is reduced by either 2 or 3, depending on how you rule it. I normally do about 2, so up to 3 people can help the check, which can bring the check down to, -6 off of it if 3 people succeed. Or if they fail the check, it goes up. So it makes resurrection, it's not just free. it's a very strenuous process, and every time you do die, it becomes harder and harder. And if you fail the resurrection check, basically you can only be brought back by true resurrection.
So, are there any moments of the players completely surprising you that you would like to discuss today?
Okay, I think we've talked a little bit, and I think you're probably going to be able to guess the moment I would bring up here is I have a player, Raph, lovely guy. Been playing with him almost 3 years. In our last campaign, they were doing a bit of a dungeon crawl up a wizard's tower. And they came to a room with a large bone altar and a bone dagger sitting inside it, all indications of a devil summoning circle with binding material in place. And he decided to ignore all the binding rituals and just summon the devil, and it ended up wiping the entire party. It was a very difficult fight, and they got very unlucky. But I wasn't expecting to end that campaign there.
On the reverse side of that, is there any moments of everything going into plan that you would like to discuss today?
Everything going to plan, that's a really good question. I think lately that with the current group that we have, the party's been doing really, really well. And I think most, if not everything, has been going to the plan, although they've been a few steps behind. I think a great example of that was most recent encounter where they managed to get a drop on a Noel ambush, and they just destroyed the entire thing. I was really proud of them in that moment. They really pulled all their stuff together. And then just from a roleplay standpoint, I think we had a festival series, most recently 2 episodes, and they just were interacting with everything. The roleplay felt very organic, it felt very natural, and it just felt like a very good progression for the characters, and I thought I was really proud of them for that.
As the penultimate question, do you have any advice for your fellow game masters out there?
Advice for other game masters: just don't be afraid to be silly, I suppose, was the thing that it took me a while to get over when I first started. I was very, very serious on myself, very, very, wanting to make sure everything was exact, and just do it. It's someone is going to have to be the DM, and if you're doing it, more than likely your players are going to enjoy it. And if you make mistakes, don't be afraid to retcon them. Continuity is something that's really good, but if it's killing player fun, just roll it back if it's really that serious. Everyone should have fun, including the DM.
As the final question of my interview, do you have anything you would like to shout out, or anyone you would like to shout out?
Well, I suppose the first and most important thing is check us out on Twitch if you ever get the chance. We're twitch.tv/theeldritchscribe. We stream every Monday at 12 p.m. GMT +1 for about 4 to 5 hours, and it's not too bad if I say so myself. Other than that, I suppose someone that's been a great help to the channel is you, Fjook. Thank you for all the support. You're a great guy.
Thank you for all my watchers for making it to the end of the video. And like Des said, go check out the Eldritch Scribe on Twitch. And I'll see you in the next video.